Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Helm Two Tower podcast. We're here to talk about everything Destiny 2 has going on week to week. I am your host, Mike Burgess. I'm here with, as always, Alex O'Neill. Hello, Alex.
Hello.
Hello, hello. And we have a special guest, our first guest on Helm to Tower. Kam Konek is here. Hey, Kam, how you doing?
Hello. Howdy, gamers.
Howdy.
How we doing?
We are doing fantastic, I'd say.
Hell yeah.
Because we're here to talk about
Love to talk about density.
Density 2.
Property of matter. I think that's what this show's about.
Yep.
Volume per unit squared.
Great.
right.
Okay. Excellent.
Yep.
That's the podcast, everyone. Thanks for stopping
Yeah,
by.
that's right. Thanks for the there's your volumetric jokes for the week, everyone.
There you go.
That's right. Now, Kam, you come from Some Good Shows. That's like a podcast network. Not necessarily fully Destiny related, but I know you have a history because we've sort of interacted on Twitter before this.
Yes.
In little capacities. I know, in a weird way, I did not realize. I think it happened randomly that I noticed you were also in a Giant Bomb clan.
Yes.
Like myself.
Yeah.
Which is
That
pretty
just
cool.
kind of happened to me, weirdly enough. But
yeah. I get that. That's
how they get you. Yeah.
That's how they get you for sure. So I thought having you on, I figure I'd use the opportunity to do something we haven't actually really done. Is that to kind of talk about our history playing Destiny, the video game, Destiny 2. Me and Alex haven't really actually talked about ourselves on the show yet. And we figured since you're our first guest, we could do that. But we'll also,
Let's do it.
yeah, for sure. But anybody listening, we'll still talk about all the happenings of the week as well. We had seasonal story, other patches. The game is too easy now, apparently, as the internet would say, or it's too hard.
Yeah,
they don't know anymore.
I think the scientific term is baby game for babies.
Yeah, baby game.
Yeah.
Once again, it is for children and no one else. But we'll get into that. But first, let's get into kind of how we started with the game, how we got introduced to Destiny and all that stuff. I want to hear your Destiny lore, Kam. Let's put it like that.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I started later than a lot of what I would kind of call quote hardcore players, and that I've never played Destiny 1, a single second of it. I guess I played the D1 alpha for about an hour and a half on PS3. And then I'm like, this seems neat. Never touched it again. And then Destiny 2 came out, and I just got hit with the biggest FOMO I've ever felt in my entire life, and bought a copy of it and played the shit out of it. And then just kind of fell off, I think, around the time the first expansions came out, like a lot of people did. Got back in just before Shadowkeep, and here I am. So I haven't really played a lot of the quote classic content. Every time they bring back a new raid, I'm like, oh sick, a new raid, because I've never played any of these, and that's pretty cool.
Nice.
It's something that for a while I had always admired from a distance, and then once I jumped in, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a huge problem for me, and it turns out it was.
It turns out, and here we are on a Destiny podcast.
And now I'm on a podcast about it.
Yeah. No, that's awesome to hear. So we talked a little bit before the show as well.
Yes.
And I would like to know, everybody can know, you are a Warlock main.
Yes. Ride or die.
Ride or die for a Warlock. So, what are some of your favorite stuff to do? Yeah, I know Alex is also a Ride or die Warlock main as well. But I wanted to know, what are some of your favorite stuff to run on Warlock? Either classes, exotics, whatever, all kind of builds.
Yeah, my default typically, if I am just hopping in and I just need to just run something, but I don't really need to run it go for a bounty or a challenge or something, I pretty much just hop on Stormcaller with an SMG, usually the Ikelos SMG, because it's just as I guess we found out in the TWAB, actually kind of busted.
Yep.
But yeah, just I don't know, like I really just liked the whole power fantasy idea of like doing cool mage shit, but like the gameplay fundamentally and like moment to moment still feels very similar no matter what class you play. And I thought that was really cool. So I'm usually running like some sort of like arc build, usually doing like heavy ionic traces stuff so I can just throw grenades as much as possible, do some arc souls because I don't like to try. It's kind of nice.
Excellent. Excellent. Love that. Which either because you said you started around Shadowkeep, so did you play some of the raids that have been vaulted, or no? Did you even get a chance?
So I did.
Okay.
So right before Shadowkeep, it was like I think I got in at like the tail end of like it was Season of the Worthy, right? Was the one before Arrivals?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got in like I think with 3 days left on that.
Nice.
And then once Arrivals rolled around, I got basically dragged into the Destiny clan that I'm in now, and have been like pretty active in there. And it's been great to have people to run stuff with. But I'm like, hey, I've never raided before because I just hadn't at that point. I had like tried to do some Leviathans with some pretty rough groups, and it just never ended up working out. And so after that, I was just like, wait, this only takes like an hour? Like,
Yeah.
I thought this is like an all day thing.
Nah.
Yeah, no, I was able to get through at least all of them once.
Cool.
I would absolutely love to run Scourge of the Past again. That raid is so cool.
Yeah,
dude.
I was gonna ask which one was like your favorite raid, either like from
That
those ones,
yeah.
or from like the raids that are in the game now. Even
That one was probably my favorite. There is like a soft spot in my heart for Leviathan. Like I just think the vibe of it is really cool. Like the Season of the Haunted stuff was really like hitting for me.
Yeah.
Just like having all that back, I thought it was fucking rad. But
yeah,
definitely Scourge of the Past. That shit's cool. Mechs are cool.
Yeah, just fight a mech in the city. Yeah, it was
that's
cool.
tight as hell.
Yeah, it was
like
pretty rad.
The vibes of it were so cool. That entire first encounter just looks so good. You know?
Yeah.
It's just rad.
Yeah, very cool. What's some of your other favorite content, like non-raid content in the game? Like if you have like a season in particular that you liked, or like an activity or something, like anything like that you can think of that. Like I know you just said Season of the Haunted, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, Season of the Haunted I really liked quite a bit. I know like a lot of people were a little kind of over the like seasonal activity about halfway through that season. I don't know. Like I as far as like regular content goes, I do really like doing GM Nightfalls quite a bit. Like I just think that's like fun and challenging in a way that I appreciate.
Agreed.
I don't know. That's like a big part of it. There's like a part of me that wants to like Gambit more than I should, I think. Because I think I'm just like caught up in the idea of what they're trying to do with Gambit, and I'm like, this is tight as hell. And then 5 games in, I'm like, I never want to play this game.
I never want to play it again. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. My idea with Gambit for the longest time is like, let me bank my moats into other things, right? Like let me go to like the North region and bank 10 moats, and a boss spawns there on the other team side.
Yeah.
And that like eats their moats or something. Like let me do other things with moats other than just make a Taken Knight.
I think it'd be really cool if they got like even wilder with it. I don't know if either of you played the Exoprimal open beta that happened pretty recently.
Did not.
But there is a thing in that game, because it's also like PvE VP in a way that Gambit is. There's just a power up in that game where you just get control of a T-Rex and get to just fuck up the other team.
Nice. Awesome.
That sounds great. It's great.
Yeah. You just become the boss. It's what is that?
That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah. What was that game even before that? That asymmetrical game that Alex you liked?
Evolve.
Oh yeah.
Just,
shout out.
Just become the boss, and you go fuck up the other team. Sure.
I'm sure that would be a nightmare to develop.
yeah. It'd be pretty rad.
It'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just an hive ogre just fucking shit up. Yeah.
Let me be the cool, weird fucking Taken orb dude.
Yeah, the weird meatball. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kept thinking of like also things like the Splatoon salmon run, like different kinds of waves, like maybe like an all boss wave or something like
cool.
that.
Yeah, some kind of like random modifier that happens mid match or something. Yeah, like that, where it's just like
there's so much
shit. All of a sudden, just like a rain of this kind of enemy shows in or something else.
Gambit could be so good, is what we're saying.
Yeah,
like it's fine. But it could be amazing.
On the Splatoon thing, I think it would be cool to do kind of like what they do with the big run, where it's like, oh shit, this weekend the Drifter lost control of everything and you just have to fix it. That would be really rad.
Yeah,
like put some stakes into it. That'd be fucking tight, actually.
Yeah,
Gambit Trials.
Cool. Yeah, sure. Why not? Right?
Yeah. That would be pretty cool. There's definitely ideas like for Gambit, right? Like I know like they did like didn't they do labs like the kind of like I know they do Crucible labs. They did Gambit labs like once, I feel like, and then never did it again.
Yeah, there were two game modes. One where
maybe just no one played it enough.
I played them too. I liked those two modes. It was like
they were cool. Yeah.
One where like if you're the invader, if you stand near the moat, or near the bank, you drain moats, and then the other one where it was like when you bank, it opens the enemy invasion portal.
Yeah.
And they were both really cool and changed the pacing of the mode in a cool way.
Yeah. Gambit's like, I'm exactly what you said, Cam. Of just like, there's ideas there, and there were times in like the various points of Destiny 2, specifically like when it first came out, it was actually pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
Where now it's just like now it just feels like you do those 3 matches with Pinnacle, and I'm like, I don't want to look at this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like Drifter, but I'm just like
and like with all of the subclass 3.0 stuff, like we are so much more powerful than I think Gambit can handle.
Yeah. It's just a lot of remixes on that mode would definitely be a welcome.
I'd be into it.
A welcome
It'd be
change,
pretty cool
for
sure.
Know?
But nobody plays it, so is that even worth it at that point, right?
Pretty much. I feel like that's like the glaring issue is they can throw ideas at it, but I don't think they have the time or the resources to really put to it. Cool. So let's switch around, Alex. I would love to hear your Destiny lore now.
Sure.
Because I think you are actually, out of the 3 of us, like the longest seasoned, quote unquote. Like you are the person who did start out in Destiny 1.
D1. Yeah, I did play the D1 alpha and the D1 beta. And I remember like playing those games. I'm like, I think this is it.
Yeah,
I think this is like half the game.
It's the moment.
And I was like, I am not going to buy Destiny because I really have a feeling like there isn't much here. I felt very vindicated when that turned out to be true. Obviously, I think at the time I didn't understand what kind of game Destiny was. Also, like the game where you're running strikes and looking for secrets and grinding for every exotic, right? And doing triumphs, which I don't think those existed in D1. So, I definitely got like the cold feet of it. And a lot of people I know played, and I had never really messed with MMOs at all. And then a year went by, and Taken King was coming out, and it's like, well, I like how Destiny plays. I want to get into it, so I jumped in at Taken King, and I like streamed, like this is way back in the days, like 2015. So streamed like the whole OG campaign and Taken King campaign playthroughs. Had a great time. I really like the Taken King campaign. I think that was like the perfect place to come in because Taken King plays and feels very much like the D2 campaign, like the Red War. But yeah, I was more of like, I jump in for the expansion, I play a little bit, try and run the raid once, and then I'm done. And I did that for Taken King, for Rise of Iron. I ran Vault of Glass and King's Fall and Wrath of the Machine all in D1. I tried to run Crota's End at some point, but I just never got around to it. And then, I came in day 1 for Destiny 2, very excited. Played a lot, played Leviathan, had my 14-hour Leviathan completion experience that I also considered to be the norm at the time. And now obviously it's very different. But I played a little bit. I played Curse of Osiris. I played the Warmind. I played just the story missions. Again, I did not understand what kind of game Destiny was at the time, so I didn't know that there were things to grind and whatnot. And then I kind of pieced out, came back for Forsaken, did the whole rigmarole again, pieced out, came back for Shadowkeep, rigmarole, pieced out, and just really never touched the seasonal stuff until Beyond Light. And that was after Mike, you had gotten way into it at Season of Arrivals and had done everything at that point. So you were starting to give me a glimpse of what I was going to become. Yeah. Also, we can't hear you, Mike.
Oh, I muted myself briefly. But yes. But yes, I definitely we'll get to my spiel, but yeah, that was definitely a moment where I was like, open your eyes, man. Open them a little bit.
Look at what you can see.
Yeah.
Bro.
You need to be sick like me.
I remember messaging Mike and Jake, another person we play with, and being like, how do you get the warden title, and what is it like? Is it hard to get the kills on the other weapons? You had to get kills with seasonal weapons, 100 kills with each. And I'd never used a waveframe grenade launcher. It was I was learning who I was, really.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got super into Beyond Light, did the campaign on all 3 classes because I wanted to unlock stasis and try it out on all 3 classes. That was the first time I think I made my Hunter and Titan, and just kind of really got into everything from then. I ran my first GM at the very end of that season with Mike, and then I ran GMs for Season of the Chosen, and just did pretty much everything since then. And we have our own little group of folks that we run with now, and it's lovely. We're a lovely little Destiny family. We've been playing together for 2-3 years, right? So,
yeah.
And it happens that Beyond Light came out in the pandemic and all this stuff, and obviously a lot more time, and it behooved me. It felt to get into a singular game in a way I hadn't before. And yeah, I've just been huge into it ever since, and I haven't looked back. Of the raids, I remember in D1, I definitely said Wrath of the Machine was my favorite. I hope at some point both of you guys get to play it because it's very cool.
I have heard a lot of very good things about that one.
Yeah. Aesthetically, it's just phenomenal as well. I love cyberpunk in Destiny, the Siva stuff kind of embodies that. And there's just a bunch of great Siva stuff in there. And I'd be really curious to see that had the most D2 raid mechanics, I'd say. So I'd be curious to see how they'd adapt that into D2. But yeah, favorite content to run. I'm not huge on GMs like both of you guys, but I do run them. I enjoy them. I'm just a vanilla raider. You throw me in a raid and I'm going to have a good time. I love having 6 people together and just running it and doing it every week, getting the crafted weapons. That has been such a satisfying thing that they've introduced over the last year. I'm excited to get all the Vogue weapons, to get all the Ron weapons, all this stuff crafted.
The Ron weapons. Hell yeah.
They're really good. I just got all of them except the one that I want. But I got to try all the other guns, and I'm like, oh, I like all of these guns.
Yeah, they're super fun. I like that the trace rifle just kind of looks like a moose.
Yeah,
I just think that's
big
fun.
ones.
Yeah.
I know. I've been ogling because me and Alex with our group raided last night, and I got a Rufus, the auto rifle with reconstruction and frenzy. It also has extended mag, and I put backup mag on it as well, so I can get 140.
Yeah, that seems pretty good.
144 rounds just by itself.
That seems okay.
It's ridiculous.
That seems all right. Yeah. Why not?
I literally think I did a battleground earlier today and didn't reload once just because it would just reload itself. And it was amazing. It was pretty awesome.
That rules.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome auto rifle for sure.
But yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I can finish us off here with our Destiny lore, my Destiny lore. So funny enough, I have a somewhat similar trajectory to you, Cam, because I didn't start in D1 either. I did not. I didn't even own a PlayStation 4 or any console that I would have been able to play Destiny on when it came out. Yeah. When it came out, so I didn't really get into it. I didn't get into the zeitgeist of it, so I was not really playing that much as much video games in general during that time. And it wasn't until later in 2017 when I was, out of school and not having to deal with that kind of crap and had time to play games and got back into video games a lot more. That I saw Destiny 2 was coming out, and like I knew I wanted to check it out because even when I was much younger, I definitely liked Bungie games and Halo games and all that stuff, of course. So I got into Destiny 2 when it came to PC, so it was a little bit after it came out, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. But I would say I was in a similar sense of like I was pretty casual with it, where I just kind of came in, played the campaigns, and like played with like the few people I knew. This was before I'd even knew like Alex or any Rational Passions kind of circles in gaming and stuff like that. So I did not have a lot of gaming friends. Specifically, I just had like one other dude that I just played with, and we like attempted to like LFG into a raid in a Leviathan raid and had a pretty similar like really miserable experience. Yeah, so it was always
that sounds very familiar.
Yeah, so it's definitely always like an experience of like, man, I really would have liked to like see a Destiny raid because I see so many people talking about it, but just maybe will never happen. We'll see. Whatever. I kind of dropped off of Destiny 2 after the kind of the expansion and regular content. I think I did a little bit of Curse of Osiris and went like, oh yeah, this is kind of a bummer compared to like some of the stuff in Destiny 2. So I kind of dropped off a little bit and was waiting to come back around. And I think in between that time, I then actually joined the Rational Passions. And then was still kind of playing Destiny here and there, but I didn't even know I don't think until Forsaken came out, I knew like, Alex, you also really like Destiny. And I was like, holy shit. Mm-hmm. And then that then led to us like me playing a lot more Forsaken because I knew I actually had other people to play Destiny with, and that was cool. Mm-hmm. And that was like my first time also like, I predominantly just during that time I played Hunter just because that was like the basic ass, like this is just like I have normal jumps. I'm a normal video game man, first person shooter, so I just kind of picked that just to start with. But then once Forsaken was about to come out, I got back in and like played through like the Mars stuff and Warmind and really liked that. And then I made my two other characters, so I do play all three classes, and made my Titan and made my Warlock, and then started really enjoying them as well as I started learning the game a little bit more. Got into Forsaken, really enjoyed Forsaken, and then finally was able to do our first raid with our Last Wish raid, which was a great time, but that was definitely an era of like I was not as deep into the game and still didn't fully understand like the week to week grind and pinnacles and all that stuff. So like I definitely did not come in prepared to that. So that turned into like I think over the course of like 4 weekends, we like tried to beat
like
that.
23 hours total. I think.
Man.
Because it was like multiple sessions over multiple weekends. And I'm pretty sure there was like times where it's like, well, we're doing it after this. So now we have to start it over because we can't hold the checkpoint. And then, so that definitely burned me on that experience a little bit. So I kind of fell off a little bit after that in Forsaken, and then similar experience with Shadowkeep, where I came in, played Shadowkeep, had a fun time. We did Garden. I remember we did Garden, and that was well, we did it, but it was definitely a rough one at the start of it. But it was not as bad as Last Wish.
It was not as bad. It's not as long a raid.
For sure. But then kind of fell off. And then pretty much and then Season Arrivals hit, and that was like that perfect storm of like they just announced Beyond Light. The Beyond Light, I always liked the story and the lore of Destiny. That was kind of the thing I did like and kind of following that weird sci-fi space magic shit. So finally getting that season and seeing like, oh shit, the pyramids are here. This thing we've been teasing for like fucking 2.5 years in this game is like that intrigued me. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna get back into this. We're also vaulting all this content, and I was like, well, man, I need to see this stuff. I want to actually like see what this stuff is about, and that kind of led me into my deep now current Destiny addiction of like I played way more hardcore during that era, and I was like because of again like I said, the pandemic was happening. I was home all the time and just had a lot more free time and wanted to also not be looking at the internet because it was a miserable time for a lot of things. So yeah, Destiny kind of just, engrossed me, and then doing that, I started trying to journey out and find more people to play with, and that led me into a giant bomb clan that I've been in since then. And they're all they're all pretty cool. The group I'm in, shout out to Tazwell Core. They're all pretty cool, pretty chill dudes. And then they pretty much took me through all the older raids, the earlier DT raids like Leviathan and Scourge, and we even did the raid layers and all that stuff. Crown of Sorrow and that stuff. So we at least got one run and completion of those in. Pretty much been playing pretty regularly since then. And then getting into the more hardcore side of Destiny, and finally getting into Grandmaster Nightfalls and that kind of end game content, and doing more like dungeons and stuff. Really got me into it, and like having more regular people to play that with. I've been playing pretty much playing Destiny to play that content basically at this point, right?
It's weird how I feel like Destiny lends itself to you like accidentally realizing that you're just kind of you're actually just kind of a hardcore player now. You just accidentally stumbled into this. Like, I am just like, okay, but like, what if I do just make solid attempts at like solo flawlessing shit? I'm like, I need to do this. Why do I like feel compelled to do this? But I'm like, all right, let's load up some fucking dungeons, I guess.
And just do it. And I had that moment it helped with that because that solo mod was in.
That was so good.
It was amazing. And I had a similar moment of just like, let me just try and solo flawless a dungeon, and then I solo flawless what was it, Scarlet Keep, the
Pit of
Heresy, and it's like
I did that one too. And
I was like, well, I did this, now I gotta go do the other ones. I was able to do it. I can do it.
And
then pretty much just led me down the hole. But it's really fun and
it's
rewarding.
super fun. It's fucked up how much of a stranglehold this game has on me.
Agreed. I'm right there with you as I'm like already like, as much as I like, have, minor issues and things with like some of the weird a lot of the changes they made with the game. Like I'm still sitting here being like, GMs are out in like 2-3 weeks. I'm probably gonna get my Conqueror gilded again like a sicko.
Why not, right?
Yep. Let's do it again. Can't stop now. The streak is going. But favorite raids, like I liked Leviathan from like the style and aesthetic a lot from back in the day. I just always liked that raid, and just like the absurdity of it, of just like you are just doing this weird gauntlet for this crazy space alien, and he's just like drunk and yelling at you the whole time. Like just the whole vibe of that was always really good.
In true sports fashion, of course.
That was always like a fun vibe that I appreciated. And it was just different from like a lot of like the weird like serious tone of Destiny at that time.
I still think that like intro cutscene of you all flying into like the Leviathan still just looks great. And I like kind of miss it. That's like one of the first times I was playing D2 and I'm like, holy shit, this looks amazing.
It's a good ass looking video game. I like that a lot. I like some of the current stuff too. Like I still really enjoyed Valve Disciple. I really like that raid. It's pretty fun. Rolk is a cool boss, and the whole style in a similar cadence. Even though that was much more like evil, but just having, I think I just really like the idea of like the boss just like shit talking you the whole time you're like doing the raid, and you're just hanging out in there, and it's like
I was running this last night or like the other night with some people, and I'm like, man, like they should make more raid bosses that just spit mad shit at you the whole time. It just adds another level of you just really wanting to just get in there and kick their teeth in that I really appreciate.
Agreed.
It's super fun and just well done. And they've definitely been getting better at that, of like with Rolk and get Callus, and then Rolk, and then also like Nezarek and Ron to an extent is he's more just like creepy than anything. I don't really know if he's like really like full on shit talking, but like
he's like more just like violence horny. I feel like is the kind of Nezarek vibe.
I love it.
It's great. It's really great.
It's very good.
It's pretty good. But other than like raid stuff, I really liked stuff like the mixture of like GM content that is really about like kind of pushing that communication and like actually having to like like take on a really tough challenge. I always like that stuff, especially when it's like a group focused. I think it's really cool. So I really like GMs, but like on the complete opposite, like I always like super basic Destiny stuff. Just run around this environment and like collect shit. Maybe I'm like really basic, like bitch video game player with that regard for sure. But like, like I really liked this season. Or not with the season, but with Lightfall rather. Like they had like the typical like planetary collectibles or those weird little Neomuna action figures.
Yeah,
and I really liked
so good.
Yeah, I like that they like
really good.
They made them like little mini games, and that's like really fun. Of like you're like defending this bar, and then like
that juice bar one ruled.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then you're like there's like other ones where you're like there's like one where you have to like you're like go to that beach area and you have to like straight up like grapple around to like these different things to like turn them on in time, and like just like weird puzzly stuff like that is always super fun.
I really liked the what was it, the season of the Lost, right? Season of whichever, the Mara one where we went into like the Shattered Realms.
Season of Lost. Season of Lost.
Found the collectibles and stuff in there. I really liked that.
That was super fun.
Yeah, like the changing, like what is it, the Shattered Realm or whatever it was.
Shattered Realm, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really cool as well.
That was a cool activity.
It was really neat. Just stuff like that, just like exploring cool environments, because they always really make cool ass environments in Destiny. Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of stuff I come here for sure.
Yeah.
In terms of I kind of play all three classes. I start as Hunter. I'd say nowadays though I definitely do play more. I'd say like it's like it definitely ebbs and flows with me, where like I'd say like probably post Beyond Light and like around Witch Queen, like that whole year I was pretty hardcore playing Warlock, I would say, because I like Stasis Warlock and Void Warlock quite a lot. But I'd say more recently, like Lightfall, and since then, I've been playing like probably Strand Titan is actually probably my favorite class of the game right now. Strand Titan is just so fun. I just like the moment to moment of gameplay of just like slashing dudes to make orbs for myself, which either that can give me woven mail, or I just like the simple thing with the Titan where if you destroy one of the strand balls, it like shoots out a big shockwave that gives everybody woven mail in an area.
Yeah,
I just like literally not even shooting and just picking it up and throwing it up at my feet every time, or just like picking it up and like running into a group of enemies and just slamming it into all of them, and just give me woven mail, and I can keep fighting. And it's just like a very momentum based class, like in a way that's like very fun to me. And I use and I don't use I haven't actually gotten like the legs that make like the 3 barricade blast. I just use Armentarium for the 2 grapples, and that's like super fun. I can just have 2 grapples all the time.
Turns out grappling twice good.
It's fantastic. But yeah, that's really fun. But yeah, that's some good Destiny lore, I would say.
Yeah.
Destiny.
Get Bife on that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Bife, make a video about us. God damn it. But other than that, we had a week of Destiny stuff happen.
Yeah.
It was a whole week. This was like basically the end of the story. Now it's always one of those things now where like we don't fully know, because sometimes they'll be like, surprise, there's like one last thing at the end of the season. Maybe we'll get that. We'll see. But yeah, this was like kind of the wrap up to kind of the sadness that was Amanda Holliday passing away, or sacrificing herself rather, at the end of the season to save a bunch of prisoners. And now we kind of have the this week was more just like seeing a very intense moment from Zavala. Now the late Lance Reddick, sadly giving a really strong performance.
Him reading a eulogy sure hits different now, huh?
Yeah. It was pretty intense.
Oh boy,
for sure.
That was hard to get through.
Yeah. It was it's a lot, and just like knowing, it's been so incredible to be on this character journey with Zavala since like Beyond Light, right? Like they've done so many cool things with like this character that everyone jokingly referred to as like milquetoast, right? Like as like basic dad as you can get, but like we get a season dedicated to his backstory, his lore, right? Like we get seasons dedicated to him, like just dealing with everything, and like even just the cutscene in the Witch Queen campaign, where it's like,
oh my god,
hey, like, this is what the Traveler did, and like we don't really know why or how, and we don't really have the time to think about if it matters or not, and just like that raw reaction from there to Season of the Haunted to now. It's it's a bummer. I don't know if we will get a conclusion to like Zavala's story, right? Like that's what I was thinking about when with his like eulogy of like how betrayed he feels and how tired of waiting for the Traveler to do anything he feels it, and that just like it hit hard.
It was a lot for sure. Definitely a beautiful moment though in some ways, but yeah, pretty rough. You said a really great character moment for all that. But yeah, that was kind of like the big. I don't think there wasn't really too much else to the story.
I thought the like little like radio conversation between Crow and Mara was really good.
Right.
Starting to kind of like it's just like a really interesting dynamic of essentially, them having a very damaged relationship that like fundamentally neither of them technically had anything to do with, but here they are, and like I don't know, man, every time Crow's voice breaks it just really gets me. That shit hurted.
I mean, hearing Mara break a little, hear the mask break, like for maybe like the first time ever was really powerful too. I thought I love Mara Sov. Like I just love that they've made her character so much more interesting than just like cool awoken queen, right?
And it's really cool to see them give her a lot more moments of vulnerability and like seeing her struggling with knowing that being soft is the right thing, trying to do it, and just really not being good at it. It's just really good stuff.
Yeah, and I like the conversation with her and Elsie last season. How this is kind of extended out of that is just the progression of character development is so good.
They definitely have nailed like these really interesting developments over time, season to season for sure for some of these characters like Mara, and really curious where that's going to go. I wonder if we will see maybe like. There was a whole thing with last week with like Crow being like, "I want revenge." He's like really mad.
Yeah.
So I'm
Vengeance
curious.
Didn't really work out for him in a previous life.
Definitely worrisome that he's kind of looking at his old ways a little bit. But I'm curious maybe if they'll do something like that. Maybe that'll be like one little final thing we get at the end of the season. Maybe like one little mission where he's like, "I found the thing, we're gonna do it." And maybe like that, like and like again in that similar thing, like you said, Cam, of just like leads us into maybe a bad thing that then like pops off the next season or something. That could be really cool.
I think it, honestly, like even if they were just like we're done with this season story, like I think things ended in a very good spot. Like narratively, like I would be perfectly fine with them just being like, all right, just do your Guardian games and get out of here. Like,
on to the next thing. For sure. But so that's what I was going to ask. Like in general, like as a full season overall, do you guys feeling generally pretty good about the story and some of these activities overall? You had a good time.
Yeah, I think the story is good. It's like always gonna have to play a second fiddle to Lightfall, just like kind of all the other ones did. And I think like grounding it in characters, like it really worked for Season of the Risen, right? Like I really appreciated all this perspective from Saladin. And like obviously like he makes the move to the Cabal at the end of that season. And this was more about Holiday and kind of like the effect that she's had on a lot of the people in the tower. And I really like that. I think overall, if I'm like looking at every little bit, like I think the weapons are, I've mentioned it before, how they're kind of disappointing for me. I don't have like a lot of standouts for the seasonal weapons. But I think like the activity, all three battlegrounds are really cool. And really interesting. And anything that uses like the Ascended plane is usually like gonna get points with me.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked the theming of this season of, kind of like largely focusing a lot of the main plot on, fundamentally 3 characters that do not have the ability to revive themselves. It brought it brought back just like a lot of the same kind of narrative, like the super interesting narrative beats that were in the Red War, down to, hey, here's the farm again,
Yeah.
Like I thought that was like really cool. Whenever the music started playing, I'm like, oh man, like
look at this place,
man.
Yeah. Look at this soccer field.
Yeah,
why did they do this?
Why did they destroy it?
That was the first thing I looked for. I really liked the season from like a storytelling standpoint. I thought it was really cool. I think that I think it makes sense that they had to, I guess, quote, kill off a character for a lot of this stuff to land. But it is a bummer, and it's very interesting to see, just a lot of people kind of reckon with a lot of stuff that happened and take away good lessons and stuff from that. Like Mithrax getting kind of fucked up over it is like a little hard. So
yeah.
I agree. I think from a lot of the stories and like interpersonal like character stuff, this season was like definitely the best part about it for me. I definitely liked having that sort of grounded aspect to the whole season, like you said, where it was just I like seeing the perspectives of these humans who are just like hanging out, and they're not guardians, they don't have crazy mystical powers, they can't make crazy green powers and shoot ice and whatever the hell, but like they're just people, and they're just now they are confronted with all this crazy stuff happening, and like what are they gonna do? They're not gonna all they have left is this city, like there's no other humanity out there. It's just they're gonna fight for it, and
it's really cool that they're leaning into the thing that they have been like pretty heavily going towards of, we are not guardians of the Traveler, we are guardians of humanity, and like focusing that on like focusing an entire season on that and like making that a lot more like grounded and relatable was A+. Good job.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I will say like I don't think I liked the battlegrounds as much as some of the previous battlegrounds we've had. I think they look cool, like you said. Descendant Realm stuff always really cool. I like the EDZ one a lot, but I think like the other two for me just don't hit as much compared to some of the previous ones. Like I think like the Cosmodrome one is just kind of long. In a way that's like,
which is the one that the boss just like sends you back to the Ascendant plane through each damage phase.
That's the Cosmodrome.
Yeah, that one felt like a little. It's like, all right, come on, let's just get this over with here. Yeah. Come on, yeah.
That one was a little long in the tooth for me. And then I think this was my own doing, but like when I saw the name of the other one, which was like Orbital Prison, and I was just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then like the first half of it, you just kind of like standing on some platforms like throwing orbs, and I was like, okay,
all right,
fair enough.
Sure.
But then when you get to like the next part and you're actually in like the Cabal ship, like that I like that part, like fighting all the Cabal and like the boss room and stuff, I think are kind of fun.
If anything, it was cool Ascendant plane world building, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Just cool stuff like that. And but I'd be fine if the season, this was kind of the wrap of the season. I'm assuming, whatever season is next, Season of the Deep, wherever that goes, I feel like that's going to be, I feel like how they've kind of done it in these past few years, where like that is like kind of the quote unquote true leaping off point, and that's going to kind of start building the slow kind of build up to final shape, I would imagine. Like I feel like a lot of those seasons, like usually that kind of first big season after the expansion kind of does. But yeah, I'm fine if we're wrapped up here, and then we probably get Guardian games, Grandmasters. That's kind of the two big things, at least for me.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Next
finally get that Reveler title. Thank God.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna grab that as well. Definitely hoping for some cool Tron-y looking ass armor like they did last year for Guardian games. And I like that armor.
I always appreciate the just like kind of terrible aesthetic vibes of the Guardian games. There's like a charm to it that I really appreciate.
I like the weird amalgamation of like sports, even though we don't actually do any kind of sport thing whatsoever.
Zero. Yeah.
But like, I don't know, here's like a tennis ball ghost to buy. And you're just
they blew up the soccer field. What else am I supposed to do?
Yeah. What else are you going to take from me?
Exactly.
I really like Guardian games too. Like last year was like the first time I ever did it.
I did last year specifically. Like I think they like nailed it because
the strike scoring stuff.
Yeah, the strike scoring and having like the when you're in a strike, you're like with like your other class, and it's like all focused on like
cool.
You're like 3 warlocks running together or 3 hunters. Or whatever. I thought that was really. I think they nailed it with that. Because the other years were like kind of like whatever, because it was just kind of like they didn't really have that central thing to do. So I did like that a lot. So I hope they kind of have that again this year. I'm sure they will, and it'll probably be improved on in some way.
Most importantly, the title, I love that SMG, is a Void SMG.
It's
good.
Perks yeah.
Could mean it gets destabilizing rounds. You know,
could be
just
good.
saying.
That would
be really good. And
that thing
like
would be so good with that. Holy shit, dude!
I know. That's why I've been thinking about it.
Yeah. That's really good.
I'm sweating. And I really like the origin perk for the Guardian Games gun, so I'm hoping for like another primary ammo weapon.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
I'd be very into that. So
my favorite thing about the holiday events is what I call stupid destiny, which is in like all of the cosmetics that they have. Like, all right, fuck it, your ghost is a water bottle now.
Yeah.
All right, he's a tennis ball. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
I think that stuff is so good, and that's like the best part. Like, it's just something very funny to me about like, all right, I have just killed Nezarek, the final god of pain. I'm going to sit down and eat 50 hot dogs. That's so good.
Yeah. I'm just going to pretend to be the other disciple and kick this little guy and just yeet him all across this. Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff like that. Yeah, it's always when they get a little ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. First thing, anytime an event ever pops up, I just immediately open the Eververse store. First thing, anytime those go live.
Just see what's in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're a true Destiny sicko.
100%. Yeah. We on that fashion game now.
That's right.
Yeah.
How much bright dust do I got right now? Let's see.
Not enough.
Get this? Yeah, usually never enough. But yeah, that's gonna be pretty. That's gonna be fun. I think that's May, so we still got a couple weeks. But
yeah, I think that's like end of the season. I wouldn't be surprised.
It's the last 3 weeks.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
So I would actually be kind of surprised if they had a seasonal wrap up in the middle of Guardian games.
Yeah, they usually don't do that, right? They usually.
But I mean, they could. You know, like there's no rules. So.
True.
Yeah, it's weird because like they did the Dawning like right at the beginning of last season, so it's we're doing the exotic mission and then going back and doing the Dawning, right?
Yeah. So I guess we'll see what they do. I don't think there's anything left in that exotic mission to go do. I think everything's out for that.
So,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still got to do with that on Legend. I know they've
I need to do that
also. Same here. I need to do that, and but I did do the other thing, which I got all the chests and stuff, which was pretty cool.
I need to do that as well.
Cool stuff in that mission.
Cool. Vex Network is definitely one of the more like I guess quote unquote modern like Destiny like styles.
That's how you fix Gambit. Just put a map in the Vex Network.
Yep.
There you go.
Sold.
That one's free, Bungie.
You could actually put a map anywhere, and it would be a boon. Dude,
that's also a good point.
Man, I feel weird missing that Dreaming City map.
I love that Dreaming City map.
It's like, you know what? I wouldn't be that. What was it? The Tangled Shore map. The Tangled Shore map. The Tangled Shore map was fucking terrible. But I don't care. I'd take it at this point. Just
take it at this point.
Yeah, I would just take it and take it back and then probably die in that stupid.
Can you imagine how fun it would be shooting out of those cannons with grappling hooks, dude? Are you kidding me?
Actually, that'd be pretty alright. Yeah,
that's true.
That'd be pretty good.
I forgot about the cannons on that map. The portals on the Dreaming City map were cool.
Yeah.
They should actually bring those back.
Yeah, at least one of them. They should figure something. Just something. Just something.
Titan's not even in the game anymore, dude.
I've seen this EDZ map 700 times.
Yep. Poor Gambit.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Bring a sword, sister.
Bring a sword or something to end me. But other than that, season stuff this week, we had a big, I would say a relatively big patch to the game.
Yeah.
Like as we said at the top of the show, now Destiny's back to being a baby game again.
Yeah, baby game for babies.
Because apparently, they nerfed all of the activities, quote unquote. So I think the biggest thing was basically any legend/master like difficulty tier content. They've reduced enemy health. I think they said like actually in the TWAB they followed it up and it was like a 10% health reduction like across the board on all the stuff in there. So it was like legend, master, nightfalls, basically anything legend master but besides raids and dungeons, I think is what they said. So mastered raids and dungeons are still the same as they were, but anything else they lowered the health in. I will say I have not done a lot of like all the different legend master stuff, but I definitely have noticed it as I did earlier today. I did some story content.
I was running some legend lost sectors and like some master lost sectors over like the past week, like before and after this patch, and it is definitely noticeably better.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
To where I still think that they are tough and punishing, but not in a like. I think that they are going to feel a lot easier once we get that primary weapon buff.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know, like they still kind of kick your teeth in a little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm just playing poorly, but like, I don't know, like it feels weird that I have to feel like I need to use a machine gun as a primary weapon, I guess.
Yeah. I'm with you there.
It's intense.
Yeah.
I love my commemoration, but I don't necessarily want to use it for everything.
Yeah. Retrofit Escapade, love that gun. I can use other ones. It's fine.
Yeah. Let me use some other stuff. Or like I think we mentioned in the episode of like pulling out an SMG, any like you said, like an ICLOS SMG or like a Cal's mini tool, and you feel like a god. But then I pull out like a pulse rifle and I can like barely kill a red bar with like a full magazine. It's just there's definitely a lot of weird inconsistencies with some of the weapons right now. So I'm definitely looking forward to that patch as well. I haven't tried the lost sectors yet. So that's nice to hear because I definitely
they're definitely better.
Yeah, it's nice to hear.
Just slamming my head against the wall in some legend ones trying to get those done. And I think granted it was also Chamber of Starlight, which is a little bit tougher, but
sure.
It was a lot better after that. I noticed I'm like, okay, cool. I don't think all of that was inherently my fault.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I have to try that.
That's good.
Because I didn't do any master stuff before or after the patch rather, but I did do because I got earlier this week. I got the Neomuna, the Virtual Fighter title.
Oh yeah,
it's a really good title. I did the master story mission to do that, and I like even basic. Admittedly, like that was the thing. I think like you said, like lost sectors. I think were like truly like the biggest problem in some regards.
They were bad.
They were pretty brutal, and like the reward you would get for doing them like didn't really match it in my opinion. Where it was like, let me spend 10-15 minutes trying to get this, and hopefully I get an exotic, but more, at best I'm going to get 2 enhancement cores. Thanks.
Yeah, and the drop rate's still kind of low, but it still feels kind of like it did before they did this big rework before Lightfall.
Yeah,
so.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, that was definitely my thing with it. Of just like if I wouldn't mind if it was harder, but if it was like more like straight up a guaranteed exotic drop at the end or something like that.
At least for like a master, you know.
Yeah, for sure. But since they're dialing back on some of this stuff, I think maybe they definitely went they definitely overtuned some things, and now they're kind of figuring it out. So that's good to hear. But I would say like other than the lost sectors though, like. The other main pain point, which again they called out in this, which was a big change, was that legend exotic mission with multiple people. Like that mission like felt near impossible. When I tried it with me and 2 other people on legend, and just like we could somebody who is I'm conqueror I've gilded Conqueror 7 times and will probably do it an 8th time, and like. And with one other person who has done that as well, and another person who has just like I think he's like Conqueror like 2 or 3, and like we couldn't even get past like the first like area because like enemies are like so tanky, and like I literally like you were saying using Commemoration as a primary to like shoot down an orange bar Cyclops, and he literally just like would walk through it and tank like more than half a clip of like a Commemoration like machine gun, blowing him up with volatile rounds, and he just like clonks you on the head.
Just like, all right, goodbye.
Yeah, and he's just like, whatever, I don't care, clonk, and just like clonks you in the head. You're done.
That thing on Legend felt like solidly the hardest thing in this entire game.
Yeah,
and that is weird. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they definitely hit that a lot harder. Where I think they said it was like over 30% they dropped enemy health.
Yeah, like that high, huh?
Yeah, for like, and that was for like having multiple people on the fire team.
Yeah,
like it was. Yeah, that was definitely the right call for that.
Yeah,
for that
I think
activity.
so.
But yeah, that's. I'm curious to see what people think of that. I'm hoping it's not as bad as it was.
I haven't hopped into Legend since that came out. I definitely don't have a clear. So
neither do I. But I did the Nightfalls before this. Like I did a couple Legend Nightfalls because I was working on the Guardian rank, my Guardian rank number as well.
Oh, sure.
And then unfortunately, I found out if you're Guardian rank 7 and do a Master Nightfall, when you go up to 8. It doesn't retroactively do it. So I had to do a second master.
That's annoying.
I had to do a second master Nightfall.
Oh, that's so annoying.
After that, I was really mad especially because rank 8, like the whole thing with rank 8 is like you have to have a clear of like at least one clear of all raids and dungeons, which that's all retroactive. So I got all those instantly.
Yeah,
but then just doing a master dungeon.
It's like
our master Nightfall was not cleared, so I had to do that again, and like that actually didn't feel too bad. Granted, it's Glassway this week, and I have cleared Glassway a couple times on like Grandmaster already, so it wasn't too.
That's a tough one.
It is tough for sure. But
I want you to know I jumped into one Nightfall this week to like just try and work on my strike stuff, and I jumped into Glassway. I think it was Legend, like whatever the minimum difficulty is, and it put me in the boss room with like a 36-minute time on the thing with 2 other people that were struggling there. And I was like, "All right, boys, we're doing this. We're getting this done.
Yeah, I'm here to help. Yeah,
it's called putting the team on your back.
15 minutes later, we cleared it. So.
That Nightfall is. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, for people that don't know like what to do, I think it's very brutal.
It's get ready for lots and lots of champions.
Yeah,
the boss
so many champions.
The boss room is basically what that is. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I think my because I fell off of doing GMs for a couple of not seasons, and like the one time that I have cleared Glassway on GM, we're just like, do we want platinum or gold? I'm like, just clear the damn thing. Yeah. And we just killed him. We're like, gold is fine. Who cares?
Yeah. Same for me.
Yep. Yeah. That's definitely my light blade approach for sure.
That's kind of the way.
Let's get this over with. Good lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with Corrupted, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But those didn't feel too bad to me though, because obviously again I'm skewed by having done a bunch of GMs pretty rarely, but like Legend and Master Nightfalls in particular did not feel bad to me. It was definitely like the lost sectors that felt pretty miserable in that Legend Nightfall. So doing this across the board I definitely think was the right call, especially when like you also factor in all the other stuff they mentioned in here, like apparently like they made all these changes to like Empire hunts and and like something else too, and it's like who is running Empire hunts right now and wants them to be that hard.
I guess if you really want Cloud Strike,
you really need Cloud Strike like right now, and like why make those so hard for those poor people that like have to like go back and do that old content. It's like
I don't remember the last time I ran an Empire hunt or a Nightmare hunt for that matter.
Yeah, exactly. It's like so weird. I guess like it makes sense to like because like they probably just applied this modifier to like everything, and like I think they're still figuring out like I do like the idea of, I think when they originally pitched all these difficult changes was like the idea of like when you go into a Legend thing, you know what to expect because like it's a legendary or legend like tier difficulty, so like it should feel kind of similar across the game. Where I think like they definitely did not hit that in retrospect, looking at the game, and like that was definitely after before that's changed. I was really thinking about like all the difficulty stuff and like just how inconsistent like the game as a whole felt difficulty wise was definitely like more frustrating than actually the game being harder. Where just like like you said, the legend exotic mission is like felt like the hardest thing in the game, even than like a dungeon or like a master raid or something like that. But then you had like a legend Nightfall, which was pretty breezy, or a legend Battleground that just came out this week, and that was like that just felt like I was literally just running a normal one. In terms of difficulty, like it almost felt exactly the same difficulty, but now your equipment's locked. Like that's the only difference. And like it felt exactly the same, but then but that's considered also a legend difficulty thing. So like it was just it just felt so inconsistent. Like what this legend tier of now, and now it's like it just made it confusing too. Like where you're just like right now we have like 3 different versions of legend difficulty across all these different pieces of content, and it's just. It's just weird.
It brought to mind like we've talked about them ending power and just taking that out of the game and just having like basically general difficulty settings, and I think it exemplifies how difficult it is to do that across different kinds of activities and different amounts of players. So like this is definitely them toying with stuff and trying to figure out some kind of even ground for some of those difficulties per activity, I think. And it's a challenge. I understand why it's so weirdly all over the place.
Yeah, I definitely think that's going to be a theme, a little bit of this, probably like
this year of Destiny
in the final shape, because like you said, like I think their big end goal is seeing whatever the current form of like power leveling that as we know it, that it's been in Destiny forever, probably will not potentially not exist by the time Final Shape comes out, or with the launch of Final Shape will not exist. And I think this year is really them figuring out that how this video games works without it, after it being in it what literally since the beginning. So a lot of big changes.
We can go back to the system from D1. I could try and explain that to you guys for the next 45 minutes if you want.
No thanks.
I think I'm good, but I do appreciate the offer.
Cool.
But they're gonna keep figuring that stuff out, and I think that like you said, there's kind of this adjustment of enemy health. But then the TWAB came out later this week after, or I think it was the same day the patch happened actually. The TWAB came out. And they kind of previewed the mid-season patch that is happening. I don't think they gave us a date. I'm guessing it'll probably be like in a week or 2 or a couple weeks.
I heard somebody say like with Guardian games launching, but I haven't seen that written anywhere.
Yeah, that seems
just not be seeing it, but that would make sense.
Yeah, it seems later than mid-season.
Sure. Yeah,
for Guardian games. So
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, but it'll probably be a couple weeks. We're getting into April now, right? So there's only like a month and a half left, right under 2 months left in the season already. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But they kind of told us they gave us some like little juicy tips as were about a couple of the changes. They didn't give us all the changes, of course. But I know there's a lot of stuff that was pretty exciting for a lot of folks, because like you said, there's going to be a big primary weapon buff to a lot of different weapons across the board. And I definitely think this was much needed. So I can just list them off here real quick. So you have auto rifles getting 25% damage buff. Yep, there it is. I know.
So there it is. F1 gang rise up.
There it is.
Also, hey, Quicksilver Storm is going to be a fucking monster.
Yeah. Thing's gonna be
insane. God.
This is insane.
That's so much damage, dude.
Yeah,
I was talking with like specifically some of my issues with like auto rifles is like archetype to archetype. It feels like really inconsistent how much damage they do, right? Like rapid fires feel great, and then adaptives, which are 120 RPM less, feel terrible. So I don't know. I hope this doesn't like accentuate that too much. I'm hoping this kind of evens the ground a bit. But boy, that is just for someone who has used auto rifles primarily since Season of the Splicer when Chroma Rush came out. Like
No, I still keep my Chroma Rush around, and it like feels. It's weird that is like one of the best feeling auto rifles that just doesn't even have an origin trait and is kind of fundamentally an SMG.
Yeah. Yeah. I still have a couple of rolls. I definitely read this and was definitely looking at auto rifles I still had in my vault, and the Chroma Rush was definitely one. I was like, oh, I got these 2 Chroma Rushes. These are pretty good rolls. I bust this out. I got the old Gambit one. What was it? The Void one.
Oh, what is that one called? Gnawing Hunger.
Gnawing Hunger. Yes, that's the
that
one.
That gun rules.
Yep, I got a really good roll of that. That definitely will probably bust back out. Like you said, a lot of this does include exotics too. They did clarify that on Twitter. So like all these buffs about to go over includes the exotics under this. Yes, that's freaking Quicksilver, that's freaking Tommy's matchbook. I don't know, people are going to use Tommy's matchbook, but that's a pretty significant damage buff to that.
Cerberus +1 gang rise up.
That's right.
Our time is now.
Your time is here.
This technically includes Vex Mythoclast as well, which is.
I'd be curious. Are you curious if it includes that, or if they're gonna axe it just because I think it's technically considered a fusion, right?
They said in an interview that it's like in the system, it's like considered an auto rifle because of how it shoots. So I'm just really excited to see what that feels like.
That gun already still pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah,
very good, I would say.
Yeah, that could be pretty insane. Another one I thought of also in this realm is Sweet Business.
Oh hell yeah!
That thing's gonna be ridiculous as well. I feel like
that fucking gun.
I definitely will bust it out just for that. But that's gonna be a lot of fun. To 25%, and this is 25% specifically to red and orange bars. So this will it's not gonna be like they're not gonna be like boss DPS weapons, but
good lord, yeah.
But
which I guess that's really all you kind of need them for.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, exactly. But but that'll still be like very good and a lot of content.
Yeah, that's going to be very helpful.
Yeah. The next one up, which this is speaking to me because I am Pulse Rifle Gang. Pulse rifles, hand cannons, and sidearms are getting a 20% buff. This is definitely something I felt has been needed for pretty much all 3 of these. I would say I think there was, I don't remember the specifics of it, but I know a lot of people reference it. It was a pretty big primary weapon nerf in Shadowkeep, and there's just been so many weapons that have still been kind of weakened during that era that have not gotten their kind of PvE, and I feel like they're finally kind of getting back around to those. Which is really nice to see. Cannons
feel like they have just been in a rough spot. I'm not a huge fan of using them personally, but they just don't feel good kind of beyond that at this point.
It's like a PvP only weapon in a weird way.
Yep,
100%.
I agree. So this gives them some potential, and that's pretty cool. I would definitely be curious to I look at Sunshot specifically. That's still a pretty decent one, but now it's with a 20% buff, that could be even better. Malfeasance also could be really fun.
Yeah. I wasn't thinking 180s a lot, but the one from Deepstone Crypt is really good. It has really good rolls on it.
Is that Posterity?
Posterity, yeah. So I'm really curious to see how that does after this.
Yeah. There's definitely a couple of hand cannons I've definitely thought about where I get those back up. The only one I really ever used, again, because I also felt they weren't really great, but I did get the time lost fate bringer or 2, and I did like that one at least, but that helped because it had stuff like
that is
explosive payload and Firefly and stuff.
That is the only hand cannon I use.
Yeah, pretty much
because explosive payload Firefly turns out is very fun.
Yeah,
and it's just really on all of them.
It's just free on those.
Ace of Spades too is going to feel really good.
This.
That could be
That's
really fun.
my hand cannon that I use pretty much.
Ace of Spades is just perpetually a good weapon, and I feel like it's something that anytime anything in hand cannons get nerfed, that thing just is no, it's still good. It's just going to be over here kicking ass.
Yeah, for sure. It's pretty good.
Yeah, let's get some sick Lumina plays going on here.
Finally.
The Lumina gang is also eaten today. I love to see it. Pulse rifles again, yeah. I've been dreaming of this day for so long to get pulse rifles. I've loved pulse rifles. Like even it harkens back to again the Halo days, even of like I love the battle rifle and Halo games, and now like it is that was always like still a DNA for me for Bungie shooting. Is like a good feeling pulse rifle in a Bungie shooting video game. So I've always really liked them, but like in a similar way of how Alex described it, is like there are some that feel really good, and then if they're not those ones, they feel terrible in a way that like they just don't hit hard enough. And like this is what I wanted to see. Like I'm so stoked. My bar for them being good is if I can pull out one of the two Chattering Bone rolls I have, the Last Wish pulse rifle. If I can pull that out and like go into like a slightly more difficult PvE piece of content and it feels good, then I'll be happy. Then I'll be like, yes, they did it. I think
that's
got it.
That's a pretty healthy bar, honestly.
Yeah. If it does that. If it does that, then I'm in, and I'm very happy. But there's tons of other really good pulse rifles I really like, and like exotic ones obviously too. Like Outbreak Perfected was obviously already very good, and that's good. That's getting buffed.
It's only better.
That's gonna be awesome. They talk about it later in the exotics, but also like I would imagine this includes on top of the buffs to Revision 0 is getting. Yeah. Separately, that would include this as well. So that's getting even more damage. So that could be really interesting. Then there's definitely ones I'm thinking of. Graviton Lance. Graviton Lance is a pulse rifle, technically. So like
apparently, yeah.
So like that's getting even more damage. And they didn't say it specifically here, but it says they will get. It's also getting another like buffer change in the mid-season patch, which they didn't outline. Or I think that was maybe for next season, not this patch. But
yeah.
That's exciting. Pulse rifles have always been my go-to like bread and butter guns. If I just want to use it, just give me a Destiny ass gun and I will pick out a pulse rifle more than likely. So I'm stoked that a bunch of them are going to be way more viable in content across the board. And then lastly, sidearms. Sidearms. I'm in a similar boat where it's just
it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. I want them to feel better in PvE, and this definitely could help.
Yeah, I like sidearms a lot more now that they have the full auto trigger thing.
Yeah, that helped a lot. Yeah.
That helped so much. I would like to not feel like I am either letting myself or my team down by completing a sidearm gunsmith bounty.
Yeah.
100%. Yep.
Yeah. And like there's anti-barrier sidearm, right? Like I want sidearms to feel like a potent point blank range.
Yeah.
Like switch to it and end a guy that's running up on you. Like
just dump on him. And and there's some fun exotic choices as well, because I know like Traveler's Chosen will be
Traveler's Chosen's great. Yeah,
Traveler's Chosen is super fun. It's somewhat of a meme in my clan, but we always talk about Rat King all the time.
I love Rat King. Unironically,
Rat King for real. Like me, it's a running bit in my Giant Bomb clan of we do our normal run of a raid when it first comes out, and then we go like, all right, Rat King run win.
We do the exact same thing, and that's very funny.
That's amazing.
We usually say them for like end of season. We're just like, all right, fuck it. Let's do a Rat King last wish. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, that's exactly.
And then the like 5 people that know how to do it legit are like, all right, let's go.
All right, fine. Yeah. We've done. I think the last one we did was a Rat King Deepstone, and that was amazing.
Yeah, that's super fun.
All of us just know wells, just blanking on Taniks, and just basically. And like still being able to like nearly one phase him, because Rat King is stupid. Like,
it's stupid. Yeah,
like when you get that many people with it, it's just dumb. It's just dumb fun. And you're constantly going invisible randomly with shooting each other and stuff. Yeah, it's
shout out Deepstone Crypt. That raid rules.
Yeah,
that raid does.
That the third encounter of that I think is probably my favorite just raid encounter.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah,
it's good raid.
Good job, Bungie.
Good job, Bungie.
Good job
with the good old Deepstone. The last, I guess it wasn't the last buff, but the other the last like across the board, I guess, is scout rifles. which is just getting a 10% buff. They kind of are trying to keep them in line because I understand their logic by like, you have a lot more range and you can just kind of plink away with those much more easily than a lot of other weapons in the game. So like having them be too powerful and just being like, well, I can just sit in this corner and just plink at this guy and not have to worry about, engaging at all. Like the scout is good. But I think, with a lot of the difficulty changes they made, I think this will bring them back up a little bit.
I think so too. Yeah.
That would be nice. So. A lot of pulse, a lot of scouts as well that I enjoy using. So this will be nice to get them back out.
I want to actually use my trusty that I have. I would like to be able to feel okay about using it.
The rapid fire scouts especially like feel super plinky. Doom of Chelchis is like one of my favorite guns in the game, I'd say, and this is just gonna get better. Baby.
I like Doom of Chelchis a lot too.
That's a big gun.
It's a big one.
It's a big boy.
It's a big boy. It's a big flesh gun. I like it. I'm trying to think of like also like now I'm trying to think of some scout rifle exotics that would be fun to try.
Jade Rabbit.
Jade Rabbit. But I feel like that's more of like a PvP gun.
Sure.
Sure.
It's just got infinite range, so
it's like
that's
true.
10% more damage plus like exotic buff damage, right?
It's not nothing.
Yeah, that'd be pretty.
There's
fun.
Better choices, but if you have it, it couldn't hurt.
Yeah, because
and then the one that you guys mentioned before that's getting updated next season, Polaris Lance.
Yeah, Polaris Lance.
I forget. Yeah. I always forget that gun exists.
I do too.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's other scouts too that I'm trying to think of. I guess Dead Man's Tale.
Oh yeah,
be
DMT
in there.
For sure.
That would be.
Oh shit.
That would be under this.
Touch of Malice.
Malice. Yeah, that could be fun as well. Cool, but I'm liking this. Like you said, it's gonna be interesting because they're still adjusting all this difficulty stuff, but now now they're kind of bringing it back the other way though by like bringing enemies down a bit and buffing us again. But I think that was kind of always maybe their intention was they wanted to bring the game up to like the current standards because there was definitely that vibe of like playing after the 3.0 updates and being like, wow, we are just gods. It's compared to like these poor enemies. And so like I think them bringing them up a little bit makes sense. They just need to they're still adjusting and tuning and whatnot.
Yeah. And Chris Proctor wrote this part and said like at the beginning it's like it wasn't a matter of like should we buff it, it's a matter of like how much should we buff primary ammo weapons. Which makes a lot of sense, right? Like going into Lightfall, I'm sure they knew that they needed to do this, but it's just one of those things you got to make sure you kind of try and thread the needle. I'm sure these will be adjusted, but if auto rifles get a 5% nerf in the future, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm just saying, auto rifle mains, enjoy this time when it's happening.
Fucking feast.
I did some math to try and figure out when mid-season would be, and if they drop mid-season patches on Thursdays like they have been, I would bet April 13th is when this patch.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah. I kind of figured because I think Grandmasters are the 11th. So that's like 2 days after that, technically.
Yeah.
So that would make sense to like have like this big adjustment maybe happen right around those.
Yeah, but the season's over May 22nd is the last day of the season, so it's like only like 2/3 of the way through May. So there's not gonna be much time then. So
yeah. But cool. There's tons of other like smaller things that they talked about in there, like like you said, adjustments to like Ikelos and some of the other SMGs, to fusion rifles. I think
some PvP stuff.
It was mainly PvP focused. There was one thing they said, which were snipers are going to get a 10% damage buff in the next season 21.
That feels needed.
That's awesome.
Because I have not used a sniper rifle ever if I can help it. But that's like, I don't know, like any sort of, especially with like the rapid fire ones, like you feel like you can get so much damage off, but like if they even like breathe at you, then you just like flinch off in the other direction and it's just super not worth it at all.
Yeah, it feels like your gun goes flying out of your hands. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's not, they definitely have to adjust those, and I think they're getting to it now, which is nice to hear.
And making those too powerful would probably just make the game entirely fall apart. So I absolutely get the hesitation on buffing those.
Yeah, because I definitely think there was a time when they were like top, where like it was more like, you know, a lot of like the bigger DPS metas are like, you know, swapping between multiple weapons and like I know there's a time where it was fusions and a thing, and then so I think way before that it was snipers and a thing. You would swap snipers like. Even
snipers around like Shadowkeep era ish or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was like Forsaken when Whisper the Worm was still king.
Oh yeah.
So that's pretty cool. They did again highlight a couple other exotic changes. Like mostly these were like PvP focused ones. Like they talked about Final Warning not being able to shoot or lock in on enemies behind barricades anymore. In PvP, which makes sense because
that's fun. That's really funny.
Yeah, it's funny. Seeing people do that. Yeah, when they figured that out was very funny. Terrabug getting knocked down, like lowering some of its damage and stuff. It makes a lot of sense. It's pretty monstrous.
I am not really a PvP player, but like. Nothing puts the fear of God into you like anybody competently using a Teraba.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm happy they're touching this thing.
Yeah. Definitely when you see one, you're just like, well, this is just gonna go,
it's like, okay, this match is over, I guess.
I'm gonna avoid that guy for the rest of the match.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, they had a lot of big buff changes to Revision 0. Which basically they said 4th time the charm will now be reset when entering Hunter's Trace. This will prevent the issue of firing a single shot while Hunter's Trace is being forcibly returned to pulse rifle mode. So basically I think they're just making it better so you can have those extra 4th time the charm shots. And they're also increasing the damage of both of those in a way that like I think they're trying to make it so like you have like more of a reason to choose either or. So I think is how they kind of put it in I didn't put it in this doc, but I think how they wrote it down, we're just like, we want the choice to like when you have like either the 4-shot burst or the 2-shot burst like to matter a little bit more. So they made the 2-shot burst hit way harder.
Yeah, it's 75% buff on that hockey burst.
Yeah. So did they say if the pulse rifle buff applies on top of this? Because
they said
Lord,
they said that buff applies to exotics. So that would assume this is included in this. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure this was included.
I know what I'm using next season, and it's this gun.
Yeah. Like I would assume this. Yeah,
I mean, it already
20%
feels great. So like that's fine. I like the 2 bursts anyway. So let's just melt some dudes.
Yeah.
That could be. Yeah, I would like that a lot too. Definitely want to try it once this patch goes up, and then they gave us a couple of things of like and then next season we're gonna do a bunch of exotics. I figured this was coming, right? Because we did not get a lot of exotic changes with Lightfall, so now probably next season is like we're just gonna update about a ton of stuff here, and then they called out specifically Graviton Lance and everyone's favorite. Salvation's Grip.
#1 gun in the game that totally isn't just the effect of a grenade.
Yeah. So I'm curious.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Barely.
Like a 5th of a grenade.
Yeah, a 5th of a grenade. Yeah.
So I want to hear from both of you. What would they need to do to Salvation's Grip to make you like want to use it or like put it on and be like, okay, putting Salvation's Grip on day 1 of Season of the Deep. It's meta now, baby.
I don't know.
You
can charge it, right? Like that's the whole thing. You can charge it so it shoots further. Maybe the charge.
I think the charge makes the ice thing bigger. That's all. I think that's all it does.
Like
I could be wrong.
Maybe if a fully charged shot does like an AOE freeze. While laying the ice crystals and like
maybe like a slowing aura around it or something.
Yeah, that would be all right.
Yeah,
be okay with that. I still wouldn't use it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's. I personally think like I honestly I think I'm in a similar boat. Like I wouldn't think I would use it too much either. I think the only thing they could do is just make it a normal ass grenade launcher, and just like when you shoot it normally, it just shoots like a grenade launcher. But then like you can keep that functionality where you charge it, and then it makes like maybe like a bigger ice blast that like you said like maybe it hits and it makes a big.
Here's what we do.
Explosion freeze.
So I'm gonna here's my tinfoil hat moment. All right.
Okay.
I think the new stasis waveframe grenade launcher was secret testing for them to do a salvation script waveframe where the wave just makes a row of crystals.
Okay, yeah, that'd be fun.
That would actually kick ass.
Yeah, it just makes a big wave. Yeah, I could be down for that. Make a big ice wall.
It could be like the Titan slide melee, right? Like where it like, creates a wall forward.
Yeah. Shoots the ice burst out.
That'd be really cool, actually.
That could be cool, yeah.
That would be pretty sick.
I wonder if they would err on the side of caution just for PvP's sake. Obviously, heavy ammo is not like a huge issue in PvP.
Right.
But I wonder, maybe they're giving it a catalyst. It's the time.
Yeah.
That's what the catalyst does. It makes a wall.
Yeah.
The catalyst will give it, I don't know. I was going to think of like something. Envious Assassin. I don't know. Some weird random perk. Just some weird random perk.
More ammo for no reason.
Yeah. Deeper. Yeah. More ammo reserves.
Yeah.
That would be something. But
I don't know. It's interesting. It's a type of gun that I so nothing think about that I can't even think of anything remotely close to a good idea of what to do with it.
Yeah.
I deleted it from my vault. Like that's how little I think.
Yeah,
it's just one of the exotics I don't even keep around.
It is not worth 1/600th of my vault space.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
It's how you truly disrespect a weapon.
Truly disrespect a weapon.
Honestly,
I don't even need this in my vault for no reason.
I think I have Graviton Lance in my vault still. So. And I forgot that gun existed.
Yeah, I wonder what they do to that. Maybe like destabilizing rounds or something really fun.
Yeah, I would say destabilizing rounds would be really cool, or like some kind of Void 3.0 thing because I know like they made it Vorpal at some point. I think they made the catalyst or something Vorpal.
Yeah. I could see them do like a volatile type thing.
Yeah, make it volatile.
How the like explosion works on it normally.
Yeah. Or that like suppresses or weakens. Probably like some anti-champion thing would be really cool.
Yeah, it's some sort of like just Void 3.0. Like, all right, you get a verb now. Congrats, type of change.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd be down for that for sure.
I'm interested to see what they do with them. Those of you who are on the Bungie team trying to figure out what the fuck to do with Salvation Script.
Good luck.
You have my deepest sympathies.
Godspeed.
Yeah. They're like, let's just make a new gun. Let's fuck it. Let's just
it's just like, hey, we just actually removed it from the game and we just gave you a cipher. It's fine. Like,
go get something else.
Yeah, just pull something else out of there. We don't need this. What other exotics? Since there's going to be a ton. So
over a dozen.
Over a dozen. What are some ones you want to see change? And they said, I mean, they pointed out weapons, but I'm hoping this also maybe includes armor as well, because I know armor I think still needs would be nice to see a pass on them adding a lot more verbs too.
There's some that have just been kind of power crept into oblivion. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, as for weapons like that need buffs, obviously Cerberus +1.
That's right, baby. That's right, baby.
Not mentioning that for any particular reason, just not at the top of my mind.
I think that would rule if they just gave it like intrinsic anti-barrier. I think that would kind of work really well with how that thing like kind of just is supposed to shred targets. You know?
Yeah. That would be fun.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that they should do a huge, just massive buff to Starfire Protocol and that they give it a fucking ornament. That'd be really cool. Anything.
Yep.
I'd be interested to see maybe like Suros Regime if they like changed what it does to like maybe do something like target lock. Where it like ramps up as you're on a target versus like having to choose like a firing mode. But obviously that gun's great. Like you don't necessarily need to touch it. It's just an idea.
Yeah.
That's when's the last time they've touched Truth?
They gave Truth a buff like somewhat recently. It was in the last year, I think.
I feel like it's just something that like nobody really thinks about.
Yeah.
Like, okay, great. Cool. It has like increased tracking. Awesome.
You got 3 rockets.
See you later. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like,
like Queen Breaker or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like, they keep trying. They keep trying to make that one work.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull up Dim real quick because I do need.
Yeah, I have mine pulled up right now.
I do need like the refresher of like because I'm trying to think of like stuff to do like armor specifically. That I would like to see. Armor.
I'm looking at my collections right now.
I know.
I don't know. Like as for like armor, there's so much warlock armor that is like useless. You know.
Yeah, I'm looking at some stuff now that I'm already thinking of. Like I want the Titan second chance. That's like the gauntlets that give you two. They give you 2 shield throws and make them anti-barrier. They need to make that better.
Sure. Yeah.
Honestly, I would just like a buff to that melee specifically because like it just feels it is like so slow. And it feels so slow and it does not have the greatest tracking. So like either one of those where to like make it faster or ricochet more or like track better, like either of those things would be better. And like they could just put it on this exotic, like make this. But if you're wearing this exotic, they just have like it improves that melee to like have better tracking or more throwing and like have the thing break shields better or whatever. I would like that. For sure for those.
I think it would be neat if they did like like chromatic fire. If you get that like, elemental explosion or whatever with your kinetic, it'd be kind of like a better incentive to use it if it applied like a subclass debuff to it. Like in that explosion, that'd be kind of neat.
That would be pretty rad. Just having that do that. Similar thing with like there's what's the Titan? The Titan. There's a Titan exotic that does a similar thing. It's like a chess piece. Let me see if I find it. That's it. Severance and Closure. Because that does basically what that does is powered melee final blows unleash a damaging explosion. Finisher and final blows against powerful targets increase the rage and damage explosion. That'd be like a similar thing where that'd be pretty cool if like
totally
depending on what class you are, the melee would like trigger an effect. I'd be down for that. Let's see what else we got here. Definitely like any kind of Arc Hunter exotic buff would be nice. Make them matter at all because they don't matter at all. I'd like that. Like I don't care about Raiju's harness making the staff being able to deactivate it early and like making the guard consume less stuff. Like make it do something else. Or make one that's like that synergizes with like the throw, the newer Arc 3.0 super they added, because that one doesn't really have like any kind of synergy with any kind of the current stuff.
Right.
That'd be nice.
Give Geomags their top off back.
I know.
Or just change them.
I know a lot of people clamoring for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Chaos Reach is good anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Change them to just like make Chaos Reach good, and like I'd be fine with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like Fallen Sunstar, or not Fallen Sunstar, Curse of the Fallen Star. Like just make Chaos Reach do good damage.
Yep. That would be pretty good. All right, let's see. Let me look through some other. I'm looking at some weapon exotics now.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I feel like the Prospector is a gun that I have never really heard of people actually using.
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel like that could be worth at least like glancing at.
Yeah,
it's like
that
a
could be
neat
pretty
idea
good
for a weapon.
Yeah,
there's definitely something there.
I just remember
maybe touching on like the exotic swords too. They're not great.
Or the glaives for that matter.
Yeah, updating the glaives would be really nice for Glaive Gang. Another one I just saw that I'm pulling out would be pretty sick because I also announced with that auto rifle buff. I totally forgot about Hard Light.
I was just thinking about that.
That thing would be pretty good. I don't know if they would do something crazy like giving that multiple 3.0 verbs in any way, shape, or form, but that would be kind of wild if they did that. Like
that would be nuts. Yeah.
I don't think because I feel like that'd be too good. That'd be too crazy. But
the thing is, like Hard Light, the purpose of it doesn't really exist anymore, right?
That is fair. Yeah, that is true.
But they did update it so it's like when you are on certain classes, like you'll get like elemental capacitor style buffs.
Yeah.
So
okay. Okay.
So they might not touch that anymore.
Right. Okay. That's pretty good.
You could take Jotun out of the game. You could just do that.
Sure. Yeah.
or make it fun in PvE. Make it like more viable in PvE for something.
Sure.
Let's see.
I thought you said PvP for a second. I'm like, all right, excuse me here. Okay. I could see them maybe touching the trace rifles again, because I think a lot of those, with the exception of like Cold Heart, I feel like people don't really use them a whole lot. I know Ruinous Effigy got like a little bit of like some love with the verb reworks, but I don't know. Prometheus Lens and Wave Splitter are just kind of there.
Yeah, I feel like they did make changes to them, but I have not used them enough to know if they're like worthwhile. I've heard some rumblings that Wave Splitter might be okay just because of the orb stuff, and you can get a lot more buffs from the orb stuff.
Yeah,
but like I'd have to use it myself to see if that's more like people just being
is also in a good spot.
Yeah,
so.
I would be curious to try that one. But yeah, now that I'm looking again, it's like, oh yeah, there's gonna be a lot more stuff getting these buffs than I even thought of. Like No Time to Explain, getting that pulse rifle buff, Monte Carlo. That's gonna be pretty nuts. That's gonna be pretty wild. What else we got?
Especially with like some of those just like really cool melee builds.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff to do with melee now. It'd be cool if TQ's Divination applied Scorch. I'd very much like for those explosions to apply like a little bit of Scorch.
Actually, do Scorching, that'd be nice for sure.
I know they touched Darcy, but have they done anything with Borealis?
I think
Borealis what they gave Jolt to.
I think they gave it to Darcy.
No, Darcy was jolting.
I get them confused all the time.
Yeah,
so.
they did do something to
Borealis is basically like the hard light sniper rifle.
Oh yeah, it has the hard light thing, so increased reload speed on solar, increased handling and range on arc, stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
You can see them doing a little bit more with that. That'd be neat.
Yeah. Let me see. What else can I look at? I mean,
Ariana's Vow also is like not very good now. I remember in the early days of Anti-Barrier, it was a really good choice, but now it's
monster,
like it's been usurped by Arbalest pretty much completely. So it'd be cool if that maybe had some other things to it as well.
Yeah. That's a good call out.
I think before this season, I probably would have said Leviathan's Breath, but that thing is kind of a monster right now.
Yeah.
Is it? I haven't tried it yet.
It's pretty
really
good. It's pretty good now. Yeah, like it just fucks up champions in a really fun way.
Yeah, I think a lot of my team have been running it for like raids and stuff, and it's just been. Like we've been like nearly one phasing Oryx and a bunch of other stuff.
Awesome.
It's good. It's real good.
I gotta try it.
It's super fun.
Yeah.
Just big numbers make brain feel good, you know?
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yep. The other last thing I would mention is like I would like to see, in a similar sense to some armor exotic buffs for Hunter. I would like to see that for Titan too. Just because like Titans, I liked a lot of the 3.0 arc stuff on Titan, but like I still feel like you just kind of use Thunder Crash and have no real reason to use any of the other supers. So like I'm still just kind of run curious, but like I would be down to like be like, hey, maybe having what is one of these Skull Fort or what's another one, the arms they introduced that were bugged and broken and then gone for like a month. They first introduced them and then they brought them back and they were just bad anyway. Like I would like that to be. Maybe they can do something to either of those to make them more interesting. Like I don't even think this one like does any like jolting or like neither of them do like 3.0 stuff. Yeah, like I'm looking at this point contact cannon brace. Like that doesn't even jolt enemies. Like that'd be kind of cool if you could make that thunderclap. Like it just makes thunderclap jolt enemies and stuff with that.
Yeah.
Or do that to Skull Fort either, because like Skull Fort sounds like a fun one as well. if they like buffed it in some interesting way.
I feel like you could honestly just improve a lot of exotics by like, fuck it, just throw Jolt on there.
Yeah, throw Jolt on
Jolt's
there.
Fun,
throw
turns out.
Now the Scorches or whatever the fuck, like they're boom.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like the Verp stuff is like really cool and engaging and fun to use. Like it is wild how much just be like, hey, this was already kind of doing this. Let's just give it that. How much it makes everything a lot more like more engaging to play with, you know?
Yeah. Especially with like the champion stunning with those verbs, right? So
totally. Yeah.
But yeah, that's I think that's like a good look at all of this exotic stuff here. What else? There was a change to Guardian rank stuff, so I'd be curious to know what you think about. I don't know how much you've been doing Guardian rank stuff, Cam.
I think a little. I'm still rank. I think I'm rank 7.
Okay.
And I think I'm only not rank 8 because I just don't really kind of understand the point of them.
Yeah,
yep, that's fair. That's fair.
Similar boat for me.
I think that's true with a lot of people. Like normally, I'm like, hell yeah, number go up, let's go. Yep. But I have like some stuff that's like pretty easy for me to knock out to get from rank 7 to 8. Like it's just do story mission and Nightfall stuff on Master or whatever, and it's like, all right, I can just do that, but I don't really care.
Yeah,
there's not really anything like it. I understand what they were like kind of trying to do. I just think the execution was a little messy. So like every time they like adjust the numbers, I'm like, all right, this is cool, and like it makes it a lot easier to make your number go up, but I don't really kind of understand what the number is supposed to mean or signify in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely the vibe I have as well. I will say I did actually get to Guardian rank 9 today because
we are in the presence of a 9.
Yeah, I was gonna say everyone shut up.
Everyone shut up.
Everyone shut up. Did you see that was definitely a meme going around in my clan was because somebody there was a legitimate post on like one of the Destiny 2 LFG things where like somebody posted and then somebody replied to him and just like, shut up, the 8s are talking. It's like tell this like random person, you're just like, this person sucks.
My fire team I run raids with, they are all rank 9 and I am still rank 7, and they just do not let me hear the end of it, and it is so funny. It is so funny.
They're just like, shut up, the 9s are talking.
Yeah, we're like, shut up, 7s, and 8 is talking. Like, it's so good.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where I don't really run the story missions, like the weekly story mission stuff, and I more recently started doing the Nightfall because they've been more fun. But that's also a thing where I like generally don't really run Nightfalls. I kind of focus on the other things.
Yeah.
So they're just like not activities I am engaging with as is. Yeah. So I don't necessarily feel the need to do them to then make my number go 7 to 8. You know.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
It's definitely very arbitrary, as all things considered, like making number go up in Destiny kind of thing. Especially when it's like they were boggled down right at the start, which they have clearly very dramatically reduced to like with multiple patches of the commendation score. Like that's having that out the gate, like definitely soured that whole vibe with Guardian ranks for me. Of just like them kind of putting this number behind an arbitrary kind of commendation score that shouldn't really like matter to an extent.
Yeah, and I've had some friends like since Lightfall came out jump back into Destiny, and they're just like, I haven't played in years, I'm just going to start a new character. And a lot of that stuff up to rank 6 is pretty good. Like it's just like it's kind of like a little like guided thing to like get you into the game.
Yeah,
but 6 on just. I don't want to say like feels like an afterthought because I think there was some thought into it. I just don't really know what the thoughts were because it's just not really. It doesn't really feel super clear with what they're trying to do.
Yeah. Like it feels like they're trying to make it like more like the seasonal chase.
Yeah.
Rather than have it being this actual thing that like shows you what they pitched it as.
I think it would make a lot of sense if it was if it was its own like commendation based like separate track that you could go on that like you don't really get rewarded for, but you just see it because that feels like a lot more authentic, but like fundamentally kind of tying weekly rewards and like a number next to your name to that type of thing just I think is always going to incentivize people to hop in and be like, all right, hey, I need all of the blue commendations. Can I have the blue commendations, please? Thank you.
I had highest DPS. You need to give me this commendation score right now. legitimately got 2 LFGs in our I did Deepstone early this week in LFG. And there's a couple of us, and then we got like 2 people from LFG, and straight up one of the LFG straight up said that unironically.
Oh my God.
He's like, I got highest DPS, give me this commendation, and we all just kind of went silent and just kind of gave out commendations and left. Like we did not give him any of those actual commendations.
Yeah,
it
that's
was
how
so
you
lame.
don't get what you're asking for there.
It was so lame, and like and it shows that thing right of like hearing the jump start to getting Guardians rank was just people literally putting in a code for Last Wish to like go die instantly, and farm commendations going away. Like as soon as you hear that, like, and it's like like the second or third week of this thing, it's like, wow, this is already like a very flawed system.
Whenever I run with my crew on Friday nights now, like we always open with a Taniks to get the red borders, but also because then by the time we finish our Root of Nightmares, an hour has passed so we can commend each other again. It just feels like a weird thing that I don't really think needs to be in the game, I guess. I just don't really fully understand. I super hope they work it out because I do think like a way of signifying to people that this person is a good and trustworthy player and like having a way to thank other players like sort of tangibly is really cool. And I love that is something that they're like trying to do. It's just not quite there.
Yeah, it's not quite there. Like I think it is really I think we've talked about it before, Alex, on this of like I think it is very much missing the other major part of this, which is like having an LFG system that like rewards like having those positive like things tied to your account to like get into activities and things like that to run and stuff. And I think I think Guardian ranks for me also like separated from commendations. Like I think a world where like commendations are not involved in Guardian ranks at all, which I think will eventually happen because it seems like they've dramatically lowered the number of like commendation things you've needed for ranks over time. Even just in this season alone, so I think like very quickly it'll probably be like next season, no commendations in Guardian ranks. Yay, we did it, everyone! Yeah. Like I think that's like very clear thing that's probably happening soon enough. But I think like Guardian ranks, what it really needs, and like you said, like it needs the other piece it needs is something for players like us who are playing every season and playing and have been playing long term and like needs that thing to like show that like, hey, when I did hit Guardian rank 11 or max Guardian rank, whatever it'll end up being each season during this season, so you can see it like in my profile somewhere or like something to show immediately that like, I was Guardian rank 11 last season and now I'm working back up to that already. Just because, like you said, I definitely think the more thing it was about was like having this track to get people in and like kind of get caught up, quote unquote, to like have a good time in Lightfall, and I think that was their focus on this system because it was launching with an expansion to have people getting into it, right? Like I definitely agree with you there. Like that stuff felt like it made a lot more sense where it's like literally the first rank is just doing the new light, but then it tells you to like, hey, go to a destination and do bounties to learn about this. Then you get up to like later ones. It's like, hey, do a Nightfall, and this is what anti-champion things do. And like, I think it did a better job of teaching those things. But then, then when you get to those later ones when it's just like, to get to 7 to 8, you have to like solo flawless a lost sector, and then and like that's like and then
also, they dropped that when they were arguably at their hardest.
And you
maybe
also,
like complete a lost sector.
Start there. And then you also have to do like 3 legend story missions, like missions on legend difficulty, which aren't even the match made ones. So you have to like, I guess they're like trying to get people to like use their LFG systems for that, which makes more sense when you have an LFG system in the game, but there isn't one there. But then you have like, you do that and then you go up to rank 8 and it's like, all right, now you have to do every single raid and dungeon in this game to like get from 8 to 9, which for like most people like us who have been playing for years are like, I popped that and got them all immediately. Like,
Moving on.
Yeah, I literally had those all immediately when I jumped from 7 to 8. And the only thing I had to do when I jumped to 8 was I had to do a Master Nightfall again for the second time. But also the other thing was just I had to get to max like power. I had to get to 1810. So it was really just like literally like I got up to 8 that started like, I went from like 7 to 8 in like 2 days when they, then literally I was just like for a whole week just trying to get the one pinnacle drop I needed to get to freaking 1810 last pinnacles and getting the power done. And that was like the one thing keeping me from getting 9. And like you're 100% right where it's just like this, me missing one 1810 drop is the difference between me being a 9. And that's like, whoa, I feel like I'm such a better Guardian now because I got one random completely drop.
Yeah, don't you know? RNG. Better luck means that I'm a better gamer.
Exactly,
than you.
Exactly. That's the difference. That's why I'm a 9 and you're all measly 7s.
Sevens need not apply.
Yeah. Be quiet, 7s. The 9 is talking.
That's exactly. Yeah, but yeah, like, and it's literally like you do that, and then so now I'm 9, and again, it was a similar thing where like 50% of like more than 50% of the things I was immediately able to check off because I had done it previously, like throughout my career and playing Destiny. But then it's just like, hey, complete a GM. That's like the next thing, and now I'm just sitting here waiting like 2 weeks until GMs come out, and it's like, well, okay, so basically now it's also time gated on that track, so now it's like, well, cool, I'm gonna be Guardian rank 11 maybe for like 2 weeks in this season, and then it's gonna reset again. And that's like what am I doing here, like doing this on top of this? But to be fair, like I'm also Gilded Conqueror 7 or whatever, so I still do that. So like, I guess it is for like weird dumb people like me who like have now just been like, who've somewhat trapped themselves in this streak of like, well, I want to keep going because I did this.
Like, but all Destiny 2 is just a really, really pretty like Space Wizard checkbox simulator.
Yeah.
And that just tingles my ADHD riddled brain like nothing else.
Yeah. Pretty much.
It's the seasonal reset that I think really kills it for me. Of like, I just I don't do gilded titles really, as you know, Mike, right? Like I do maybe anything I can do solo, I will happily do, but like especially this that's like so dependent on like y'all do it. And I appreciate like in our group thread, like we're messaging back and forth of like, hey, I need to do Nightfall this, like, hey, can somebody help me do this, trying to get this Guardian rank thing done. I like that and I'm happy for that, but like it's just the idea that it's all going to go away at the beginning of next season, and most of it I can't like get done again pretty quickly or solo, like while I'm catching up on podcasts or something,
right? Like
totally kills it for me. If Guardian rank reset every expansion, I think that might be a little bit more interesting. And maybe there's like some expansion seal that can go next to your name to like show that you were max rank for that expansion year or something like that.
Sure.
There's like stuff to do there. I think it makes sense that it resets some things, every now and again.
Yeah.
But it is like just a thing of like, I don't want to like do Master Nightfalls every season when I know I'm going to do a couple of GMs, and it's like, whatever.
Right. Yeah, that's like the tough point. And like in fairness, like there is some of that stuff that is rank to rank that isn't resetting every season.
Yeah.
So I think like doing some of that Nightfall stuff is in that echelon, so it's not as bad. But it is things like, like I'm assuming when we come to the next season, it's gonna be like, hey, do the new dungeon, and then it's like, okay, cool, and this will probably get you up to like, once you've done that and whatever the other various seasonal things are, you'll probably be 7 or 8 that week, that's first or second week potentially, and then you're just gonna sit there and wait for like a month, and then it's like, oh, here's the master dungeon, and you're probably have to do the master dungeon to get Guardian rank 10 or whatever the fuck, and it's just like it feels weird, and like I get what they're going for in terms of like they want to have, they don't want the scenario where they want this to be like a thing that is used for LFG to like better show where a current guardian is right now. So like, if you have that idea of like you could have gotten to like guardian rank 11 or whatever within like this season, and then if that carried over into a new season or even beyond that, like you could have a scenario where this person is trying to LFG into like a new thing, and they haven't played for like 2 years, and then they're jumping in and they don't really know what to do, or they're not fully prepared, and they're making like a weirder potential activity for this random LFG group. And like, I get what they're trying to like have this more concurrent thing. I just think there is like I think there can be two different things, right? There can be a guardian rank part that is more about tracking season by season progress, and an overall overarching thing to show like the overall, like, because I also think about that stuff, right? Of like, I'm Gilded Conqueror 7 and I'm just going to be like a 6 every time. But I've done like every raid. All of us have done like every raid that exists in this game already. And like, there's some ways to show that by just throwing a title on, but you can only really show like one single title at any time. And like, that can say some things, but all things where it's like, yeah, I can throw on this Wayfarer title, which was like the very OG title that you could get in, year one, or what was when Forsaken came out and they made titles, or I could throw whatever.
I was 2 drops away from getting that title. Oof. Thanks for rubbing it in.
Oof, sorry. Yeah, I could throw on this
fucking escalation protocol, man.
Yeah, that was definitely pretty brutal. But yeah, there's like, you can throw those titles on, but I feel like, and that's nice and all, but I think they do need something to like show more of that, like the legacy of those people that like, is just to show it off. It doesn't have to be a thing where it's
totally,
it doesn't have to be some FOMO thing. Because I know there would be people that would be like, oh, I can't get that anymore. Why do you show that? Well, it's like, hey, that's just the nature of the beast, and like, I would like to show it off as somebody who's done that. And there's people who have done way more than I have or way less than I have, and there could be ways to show that off.
Yeah, I think I would really feel a lot better about like the whole ranks and commendation system if they just weren't together. Like, I think that if you just completely separate the commendations out, having that just as its own independent like commendation score number, I feel like that you are like literally like tangent, like you do not get rewarded for it. Is just something that like, people don't feel compelled to like give you anything for. Just like having that stuff naturally do that, I think would go a lot longer of a way, because I think that with the guardian ranks, it is just turning into a thing of, all right, well, you're a rank 10, but you don't really like you're a rank 10. That means you've played the game a lot, but you could be a shit dude. And I feel like those can both independently be true, and like
100%.
It's with it being tied to the rank system, it just kind of makes the commendations worthless IMO. So.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you, and I think they're at least hopefully building towards that world where they aren't going to be tied, and that would be much nicer, because if you look at a lot of other MMOs, like, it doesn't work that way. Like, I think Final Fantasy 14 specifically, right? Like, I don't think there's like a commendation stuff in that, but like, it's not tied to rewards or anything like that. You just give them out because you want to give them out.
Yeah, and they have like a cool thing, like if you are accommodated enough in Final Fantasy 14, you can be like a player tutor, basically. Where like you get a thing above your head if you sign up for a thing, and based on your score, where you can like have a symbol where it's like, oh, other players can come to you and ask you for help.
I know there's like special like titles and mounts and stuff you can get from doing that.
And like maybe that I think that approach could be better than like that's good to know, because like I could see like
agree.
I could see like getting a title that is like a commendation title essentially in this game. Rather than it's like, that's if something you could really work towards, and then you could put that title on so you could show people like, hey, I did this. And
I really like the idea.
That'd
I really
cool.
like the idea that they are having like a portion of your commendation score go away season after season to like make you kind of keep up, to like really kind of weed out the people that quote don't really deserve the score. Like, you can. It just like shows that you're putting in the work. I think it's just a good idea.
I'm with you. Like, I think there is like there is like a healthy balance they could find to say like it is still worthwhile to do this thing every season and to keep current with it instead of just kind of doing it a whole like grinding your fucking head off during this one particular part of the game to get there and then like never touching it again. Like I feel like that's maybe that's probably what they're trying to avoid by doing some of these like resets. And I think like they at least have the right ideas. I just think, like you said, the execution of it, I think, can be refined and improved upon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that'll do it though for this episode. Right. Unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
That's good with me.
I was gonna say I think we had a lot of fun discussions about Destiny 2. The video game. The
hit video game. All the kids are clamoring over it.
That's right. They love their commendations out there.
That's right.
They're
big number go up game.
Big number
God,
go up.
I love number go up, dude.
Yeah.
That goes against everything I just said in the last 15 minutes, but God, I love number go up.
It can still be true though.
Yes,
sure.
It's true. They're different. They're different levels of number.
They are different numbers.
They're different numbers.
What they need to do, tinfoil hats back on, is tie commendation to your power level because then your friends are your power. Here we go.
Can I get a pinnacle commendation right now? Give me my pinnacle drop commendation right now. I got the highest DPS, you motherfuckers.
That's right. Yeah.
You better give it. You better show up with those blue accommodations.
Well, if anybody listening here to our podcast would like to hear your podcasts, where would they go?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me. This is a great time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
So I do podcasts over at Some Good Shows. We don't talk about Destiny until I just get hyper-focused on it and talk about it a lot.
We had to make this show.
I understand completely.
Pretty much.
We do a bunch of other shows. We've got one called the Video Game Robot Show, which is a show where we have a spreadsheet that takes different pieces of games and jumbles them up and spits them out, and we just kind of pitch them, and it's super fun.
Excellent.
Got a show called Hamburg Lore where we talk about like corporate mascot lore and stuff like that. Just super fun. We've got an anime podcast called The Big Three. That's a great time. We've also got another show on our network called the MCU Thoughtcast, where our good pals Audrey and Pilnock watch all of the Marvel movies, and boy, are they over it.
That's a lot. That's a lot right now, huh? There's a lot of Marvel. There's a lot of Marvel. There's a lot of Marvel. But yeah, we kind of just do kind of whatever. It's a like a pretty small operation. But we try to do just like silly fun stuff as we can. As for like just me myself, I post dumb bullshit on twitter.com as long as that site's still kicking around. I'm at the Camdy Man. Go follow me there, or don't. I'm not your dad. Sometimes I stream a little bit too. Stream some I think the game is called Destiny 2. Oh,
maybe you've heard of it. You guys might want to check that one out. It might be the next big thing.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Also, shout out to my Destiny clan, Goldman Shacks. What's good?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I was wondering what the name of it was.
That's the I guess other giant bomb clan.
Yeah, one of the few other giant bomb clans. I think there's a few active ones, because I know there's like a couple that I think are very active, and then there's like a few that are just ghost towns. From what I've heard at least. But thanks again, Cam, for having me. It was
literally
fun.
Anytime. I will talk about this game until I am dead in the ground.
Yeah,
so.
Hell yeah. I think that's the spirit.
I think that's I think we're the same. We're eternally enraptured by Destiny 2, and we're gonna keep talking about it. Well, to be fair, we might actually take next week off, but we'll keep talking about it. We'll keep talking about it maybe in future weeks after that. Each week, talking about Destiny 2. Here on Helm to Tower, youtube.com/Helm to Tower, or you can find us on podcast services. We're on a bunch of podcast services. So thanks everybody for watching or listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.